For this assignment, I'm going to have you build your own image from a Docker file. So you're basically going to be going line by line in a Docker file and figuring out how to make it work correctly on your own. This is one of my favorite things to actually do in Docker. I'm a little bit nerdy about it. I get kind of pumped up because creating a new Docker file from an existing app to me feels like it's actually making the app better, because I love the challenge of making something that was previously complex or inconsistent in its process and becoming predictable and automated. And that's really what a Docker file is all about. So a common exercise for a Docker admin is to make custom images and help others make Docker files for their own source code. Often you'll need to go looking at the official images, and you may not know that much about the app or even the language or packages it uses, but you still need to Dockerize it, which is to say that you're making a Docker file for an existing app or service and you're getting it to work properly in a container. But that process means you'll need to go searching for matching official images or one that's maybe not official but as close to what you need as you can get, and investigating that image repository and the Docker files in it to understand how it's built and then how you can build from it using the from command. You'll need to learn the art of melding that existing image with your build instructions to get a fully working image in the end. So in this one, we're going to take an existing Node.js app and Dockerize it. And again, you don't actually have to know really anything about Node.js other than to say, this is a web app, and I'm going to give you some information, and you're going to need to create a Docker file from it. And really, the overview here is you're going to create a Docker file, then you're going to try to build it, and then you're going to try to test it in a container. And then once you do that and get it working, then you can push it up to Docker Hub, and then we're going to remove it locally, and then we're going to run it again. And really expect, especially this build and testing part, to be iterative. It's very rare for me to get a Docker file correct on the first shot. So then I'll try to build it and I'll get a build error, and then I'll keep changing it and then build it again until I get that to work and finish. And then I'll try to test it in a container and it doesn't always work the first time. So I'll have to go change the Docker file again and rebuild it and then create another container from it. So expect that process, and you're going to learn tons just doing that on your own. So for this assignment, the actual file you're going to start with is in the Docker file assignment 1 directory in the root of our repository that you downloaded from GitHub, the same one we've been working with. And do note that we are going to use actually an official image, which means there's going to be lots of good documentation around how to use it. And that includes the Docker file for the official image. And if you remember me mentioning Alpine as a very small Linux distribution, that's the one I'd like you to use here. And you're going to use a specific version of Node that they will list on Docker Hub, which is the 6.x version. So you can use any of those options underneath the 6 branch. And the expected test result is that you're actually able to bring it up on your web browser locally using the local host. And then once you get it working locally, you're going to actually tag it with a proper name so that it's using your Docker Hub account name and a new repo name that you can create on your own. And you're going to push it up to Docker Hub. And then once you've gone to Docker Hub and you've checked out that it is there and looks correct, then remove the local image out of your cache, and we're going to run the container one last time so that we'll actually re-download from Docker Hub and then run it just to make sure that everything is as expected. And just like other assignments, if you get stuck, and it's okay if you do, remember that the next following lecture is actually me going through this assignment myself and how I might do it. And like other assignments, there's going to be several options and ways to go about it because, again, this isn't an exact science. Your Docker file might not look exactly the same as my Docker file, but if it builds correctly without error, and then you get the website working on a web browser with localhost, then I would call that a success. Good luck, and see you in the next lecture.